Now, in this part, rather the second part, on the assessment of groundwater potential in the Kariavattom campus, which I and Chako John undertook, covered not only the area around or within the Kariavattom campus, the North campus and the South campus, but also the adjacent areas. Geologically, the aquifers are not bounded by the geographic boundaries. Instead, only lithologies and structure determine the boundaries. That is the reason. Just to get a bird's eye view of geological makeup of the campus, I would we say that the campus is a high, tall plateau standing about 125 feet or more. The entire campus, the buildings and facilities associated with the academic campus are all built on 2 or 3 ridges. For example, the ridges which generally not perceived by people who travel by car or by other means of transport will not appreciate very well. Instead, only those people who got access to topographic sheets by Survey of India will be able to see the distribution of the ridges. For example, the ridge, the North Camp or the high-standing plateau region in the North Campus, where the Science Block 1, Botany, Zoology, etc. stands. It continues across the National Highway southerly toward language block and beyond. And between the ridge, okay, for example, the roads are actually a replica of the ridges in the campus. Look at the main gate. From the main gate, there is a road going straight ahead toward the language block. That is actually along the summit of the ridge or along the ridge line. Another road cuts across, roughly parallel to the National Highway and branching off from the intersection where the post office stands toward west. All of a sudden goes to the road leading from the church facing the National Highway and joins with that road originating from the church side or connecting the National Highway along the side of the church all the way to Thrivikramji. And Thrivikramji is actually again at the edge of the second ridge. All these ridges, whether it is the Science Block 1, where the Science Block 1 stands, or the Science Block 2 or Language Block stand, or the so-called road leading to Thrivikramji along the side of the staff quarters, ladies' hostel, etc. These are actually structurally controlled. If another interesting aspect of this campus is Thrivikramji Road, the ridge holding the Thrivikramji Road is actually the limit of, let's say, the northern limit of the crystalline rocks, basement, crystalline rock basement. Because once you go to what is called the Vaidyangunda, or the tallest point there with the water tower, there is a very steep fall in the elevation, almost 100 feet down. You reach what we call as Kariavattom plains. Kariavattom plains is actually a plain land, ancient coastal plain, ancient runnels with a cover of Holocene sediments. Holocene is 12,000 years ago, overlying the Morkali rocks. Okay, then we go to the hill where the Sainik school stands today. That hill is actually, interestingly, there is a massive fog. That hill is actually standing on. The hill is created by a large block of what we geologists call the tertiary sedimentary formations. But altitude-wise, Kariavattom campus ridges as well as the science school ridge, they are all at a nearly same elevation, 100 to 125 feet above mean sea level. But only difference is the science school ridge is actually composed of sedimentary rocks, whereas the ridges in the campus are composed of altered equivalents of Precambrian crystalline rocks. What is the altered equivalent? Altered equivalent is laterite, same as what caps the Sainik school here. Well, there is a thin layer of, toward the northern edge, there is a thin layer of what we geologists call as sedimentary rocks. For example, what is the guest house stands? For example, what is the VCS quarter stands? Those little humps, they are actually on a thin layer of tertiary sedimentary rocks. And in fact, the crystalline rocks and their altered equivalents and the tertiary rocks, sedimentary rocks, even though they are poor aquifers, whereas the coastal plain sediment, which is, I said earlier, just a moment ago, the Kariavattom plains is primarily a coastal plain. In other words, once upon a time, like 10 to 12,000 years ago, the waves were breaking to the east of Kariavattom, or to the slopes of what we call as the today's Sainik school hill, like it happens in Varkala Pavanasing cliff area. So, for the geological reasons, it's interesting to know that the sea has withdrawn from the land area, either because of a fallen sea level or because of a steady state sea level where the land was going up, or there was a land and sea level going up, but land level were going up more than the sea level was going up. And this is actually driven by what is called a tectonism. And tectonism during the tertiary is called neotectonism. In other words, this tectonism is not equal to what has happened under the paleotectonism, or all those post-tertiary uplifts and downwards. They have been called neotectonics. And Kerala coastal scene is the best example of a neotectonic process. So as a consequence, what had happened? We have, along the coastal plain, we have high-standing coastal plains and low-standing coastal plains. Kariavattom is a high-standing plain or an erosional plain, which once upon a time equated with the water level, sea level. That is not 10 to 12,000 years. And then we have the low coastal land, or I should have told high coastal land and low coastal land. For example, this low coastal land is like Kariavattom, like Veli, like Shangumugam, etc. So what is the advantage of low coastal land? Low coastal land has very good aquifers, aquifer rock. If there is a groundwater seepage, there is a huge reservoir of water storage, huge opportunity for water to store on the ground. So, to sum up, the Kariavattom campus as such is devoid of any good aquifers, whereas the adjacent area north of Kariavattom campus, the Kariavattom Plains as I call it, is an excellent modern aquifer.